Top 25 DevOps Engineer Interview Questions and Answers. In today's fast-paced tech landscape, the role of a DevOps engineer has become increasingly vital. This video will present the top 25 interview questions that often arise for this position, along with insightful answers to help candidates prepare effectively. Whether you're an aspiring DevOps professional or looking to brush up on your skills, these questions cover essential topics and challenges faced in the industry. Join us as we explore what hiring managers typically seek in potential candidates. 1. What is DevOps, and how does it differ from traditional IT practices? DevOps is a cultural shift that aims to improve collaboration between development and operations teams. Unlike traditional IT practices, where these teams operate in silos, DevOps promotes continuous communication and integration throughout the software development lifecycle. This approach encourages automation, faster release cycles, and a focus on customer feedback. By fostering a culture of shared responsibility and accountability, DevOps helps organizations respond more quickly to market changes and customer needs, ultimately leading to improved software quality and shortened time to market. 2. Explain the CI/CD pipeline. How do you optimize it for faster deployments? The CI/CD pipeline consists of continuous integration, CI, and continuous deployment, CD, processes that automate software development workflows. CI involves automatically building and testing code changes to ensure integration into a shared repository. CD takes this further by deploying the code to production automatically. To optimize the CI/CD pipeline for faster deployments, implement parallel testing to reduce bottlenecks, use containerization for consistent environments, and leverage feature flags for controlled rollouts. Regularly review and refine the pipeline stages and integrate automated quality checks to maintain code quality while speeding up the deployment process. 3. What are the key differences between Ansible, Puppet, and Terraform? Ansible, Puppet, and Terraform are popular tools in the DevOps landscape, each serving distinct purposes. Ansible is agentless, utilizing SSH for communication, making it straightforward for configuration management and application deployment. Puppet operates with a client-server architecture, relying on agents installed on nodes, allowing for more complex configurations and state enforcement. Terraform focuses on infrastructure as code, IAC, enabling users to define and provision infrastructure through declarative configuration files. This makes Terraform particularly effective for managing cloud resources and automating infrastructure deployment. 4. How would you automate server provisioning and configuration? Automating server provisioning and configuration can be achieved through tools such as Terraform and Ansible. First, define infrastructure as code using Terraform, which allows you to create and manage resources in a cloud environment. Then, utilize Ansible for configuration management by writing playbooks that install necessary packages, configure services, and apply system settings. By combining these tools, you can establish a repeatable, scalable, and consistent process for deploying servers across different environments, ensuring that each instance is configured identically and reducing the potential for human error. 5. Explain blue-green deployments and canary releases. When would you use each? Blue-green deployments involve maintaining two identical environments, one active, blue, and one idle, green. When a new version is ready, traffic is switched from the blue environment to the green. This minimizes downtime and allows for quick rollbacks if issues arise. Canary releases, on the other hand, involve rolling out a new version to a small subset of users before a full deployment. This method allows teams to monitor the new version's performance and gather feedback before a wider release. Use blue-green for significant updates with low risk and canary for incremental changes where feedback is crucial. 6. How do you manage secrets, API keys, passwords, in a CI/CD pipeline? Managing secrets in a CI/CD pipeline is crucial for maintaining security. Utilize secret management tools like HashiCorp Vault, AWS Secrets Manager, or Azure Key Vault to store sensitive information securely. Integrate these tools with your CI/CD pipeline, allowing applications to retrieve secrets during runtime without hardcoding them. Use environment variables to pass secrets into build processes, ensuring they are not exposed in version control. Implement role-based access controls and audit logging to monitor who accesses these secrets, enhancing security and compliance. 7. What is infrastructure as code, IAC? Give examples of tools you've used. Infrastructure as code, IAC, is a practice that allows managing and provisioning infrastructure through code, rather than manual processes. By using declarative or imperative programming languages, teams can define their infrastructure requirements in a version-controlled, repeatable manner. This approach enhances consistency and reduces the risk of human error, making deployments more reliable. Some popular tools for IAC include Terraform, which allows for the definition of infrastructure across multiple cloud providers, and AWS CloudFormation, which is specific to AWS. Ansible is also commonly used for configuration management as part of an IAC strategy. These tools help automate the setup of servers, networks, and other infrastructure components efficiently. 8. How do you handle rollbacks in a deployment if something goes wrong? When a deployment fails, having a rollback strategy is crucial. First, monitor the deployment process closely to detect failures quickly. Use version control to manage application versions effectively. If an issue arises, identify the last stable release and revert to that version seamlessly. Implement automated rollback scripts that can restore the previous state with minimal downtime. Make sure to validate the rollback process in a staging environment to ensure it works as intended. Always document the incident for future reference and to improve the deployment process. 9. What is container orchestration? Compare Kubernetes and Docker Swarm. Container orchestration automates the deployment, scaling, and management of containerized applications. Kubernetes and Docker Swarm are two popular orchestration tools. Kubernetes is highly robust, offering features like self-healing, load balancing, and automated rollouts. It supports complex architectures and can manage thousands of containers efficiently. Docker Swarm, on the other hand, is simpler and easier to set up, making it suitable for smaller applications. While it integrates seamlessly with Docker, it lacks some advanced features of Kubernetes. The choice between them often depends on the project's scale, complexity, and specific requirements. 10. How would you debug a slow application running in a Kubernetes cluster? Debugging a slow application in a Kubernetes cluster involves several steps. First, use kubectl commands to check the status of pods and nodes, ensuring they are healthy. Next, analyze application logs using a centralized logging solution like Elasticsearch or Fluentd. Monitor resource usage with tools such as Prometheus and Grafana to identify bottlenecks in CPU or memory. Utilize tracing tools like Jaeger or OpenTelemetry to pinpoint slow requests. Finally, review network performance, examining service configurations and ingress rules, ensuring optimal communication between components. 11. Explain how you would set up monitoring and logging for a microservices architecture. Setting up monitoring and logging for a microservices architecture involves several key steps. First, implement a centralized logging solution, like ELKstack, Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana, or Fluentd, which aggregates logs from all services. Use structured logging formats, for example, JSON, for easier parsing. For monitoring, deploy tools such as Prometheus for metrics collection and Grafana for visualization. Ensure each service exposes health checks and metrics endpoints. Implement distributed tracing with tools like Jaeger or Zipkin to track requests across services, enabling better troubleshooting and performance analysis. 12. What is GitOps, and how does it improve DevOps workflows? GitOps is a modern approach to continuous delivery and infrastructure management that leverages Git as a single source of truth. By storing infrastructure configuration and application code in Git repositories, teams can achieve greater visibility, consistency, and auditability. GitOps enables automated deployment processes through pull requests, allowing for version control and easy rollbacks. This approach enhances collaboration between development and operations teams by aligning their workflows, simplifying deployment processes, reducing errors, and accelerating delivery cycles. GitOps encourages a culture of collaboration and continuous improvement in DevOps practices. 13. How do you ensure security in a DevOps pipeline, DevSecOps? Ensuring security in a DevOps pipeline involves integrating security practices at every stage of the development lifecycle. This includes automating security testing with tools for static code analysis and dynamic application security testing. Vulnerability scanning should be performed on container images and infrastructure code. Security policies must be defined and enforced using tools like Policy as Code. Continuous monitoring and logging of security events are essential for real-time threat detection. Collaboration between development, operations, and security teams fosters a culture of shared responsibility, ensuring that security becomes a priority throughout the DevOps process. 14. What are some best practices for managing cloud costs in AWS, Azure, GCP? Managing cloud costs effectively requires careful planning and monitoring. Start by utilizing cost management tools provided by the cloud provider, such as AWS Cost Explorer, Azure Cost Management, or GCP billing reports. Implement tagging strategies for resources to categorize and allocate costs accurately. Regularly review usage reports to identify underutilized resources and consider right-sizing instances. Establish budgets and alerts to monitor spending in real time. Use reserved instances or savings plans for predictable workloads, and leverage serverless architectures where appropriate to minimize costs. Regular audits can help optimize resource allocation and reduce waste. 15. How would you scale an application dynamically based on traffic? To scale an application dynamically based on traffic, you can implement auto-scaling mechanisms using cloud services like AWS, Azure, or GCP. Start by defining metrics to monitor, such as CPU usage, memory consumption, or request count. Set up auto-scaling policies that trigger scaling actions when these metrics cross defined thresholds. Utilize load balancers to distribute traffic evenly across instances. Additionally, consider using container orchestration platforms like Kubernetes, which can automatically manage scaling based on workload demands, ensuring high availability and performance even during traffic spikes. 16. Write a bash, Python script to check disk usage and alert if it exceeds 90%. Hash, bin, bash. Hash check disk usage and alert if it exceeds 90%. Threshold equals 90, usage equals $, grep, awk, print $5, sed, s per percent, per gram. If $usage, GT, $threshold, then echo, warning. Disk usage is at $usage, percent, which exceeds the threshold of $threshold, percent. Hash here you can add further actions like sending an email or logging the alert. Else, echo, disk usage is within safe limits, $usage, percent. Phi, this script checks the disk usage of the root file system. It defines a threshold of 90% and compares the current usage against this limit. If the usage exceeds the threshold, it outputs a warning message. You can extend this script by adding actions such as sending notifications via email or integrating with monitoring tools for better alert management. 17. How would you automate the deployment of a web app using Jenkins, GitLab CI? To automate the deployment of a web app using Jenkins or GitLab CI, first, set up a continuous integration pipeline. This involves creating a configuration file, Jenkins file for Jenkins or gitlabc.yml for GitLab CI, that defines the stages of your pipeline, including build, test, and deploy. In the build stage, compile or package your application. The test stage should run automated tests to ensure code quality. Finally, in the deploy stage, use deployment scripts or plugins to push the app to your server or cloud provider. Configure webhooks or triggers to start the pipeline upon code changes, ensuring an efficient and automated deployment process. 18. Explain how you'd use Python to interact with AWS, GCP APIs. To interact with AWS APIs using Python, the Boto 3 library is commonly used, which allows you to create, configure, and manage AWS services. You start by installing Boto 3 and configuring your AWS credentials. For example, you can create an S3 bucket by calling S3 create_bucket, bucket equals my bucket. For GCP, the Google Cloud Library can be utilized. After installing the library and authenticating, you can interact with GCP services. For instance, using storage client allows you to manage cloud storage buckets and objects effortlessly. API calls are typically straightforward and follow the documentation provided by AWS or GCP for specific services. 19. A deployment failed. How would you investigate and resolve it? To investigate a failed deployment, first, check the deployment logs for error messages indicating what went wrong. Review the recent changes made in the codebase or configuration to identify potential issues. Use monitoring tools to assess the health of the application and its dependencies. Validate that the infrastructure is functioning properly. Run tests in a staging environment to replicate the issue. Once identified, fix the issue in the code or configuration and redeploy. Communicate with the team about the findings and the steps taken to resolve the issue, ensuring everyone is aligned on the solution. 20. How do you troubleshoot a sudden spike in server response time? To troubleshoot a sudden spike in server response time, start by gathering metrics from monitoring tools to identify when the spike occurred and its duration. Analyze server logs for errors or unusual patterns during that time. Check resource utilization, such as CPU, memory, and disk I/O, to determine if any resources are maxed out. Evaluate application performance by reviewing recent deployments or changes that could impact responsiveness. Investigate external dependencies, such as database or API calls, that may be contributing to latency. Adjust configurations or scale resources if needed. 21. What would you do if a Docker container keeps crashing? When a Docker container keeps crashing, first, check the container logs using the Docker logs _container_id greater than command to identify error messages or issues. Investigate the application's configuration files and environment variables for misconfigurations. Ensure necessary resources, CPU, memory, are allocated appropriately. If the issue persists, run the container in interactive mode to troubleshoot further. Sometimes, increasing the restart policy can help manage temporary failures while underlying issues are resolved. Lastly, consider updating the application or its dependencies if they are outdated or known to cause instability. 22. How do you handle conflicts between development and operations teams? Conflicts between development and operations teams often arise due to different priorities and workflows. To address this, establish regular communication channels such as stand-up meetings and joint planning sessions. Encourage collaboration by implementing cross-functional teams where developers and operations personnel work together on projects. Utilize tools that enhance transparency, like shared dashboards and automated reporting, allowing both teams to see progress and challenges. Promote a culture of empathy by encouraging team members to understand each other's challenges and goals, fostering a unified approach to problem solving. 23. Describe a time when you improved a DevOps process. What was the impact? In my previous role, I noticed that our deployment process was taking too long, which affected our release cycles. I initiated a project to automate the build and deployment pipeline using Jenkins and Docker. By integrating automated testing and continuous deployment practices, we reduced deployment time by 50%. This enabled developers to receive quicker feedback and allowed the team to deliver new features at a faster pace. As a result, customer satisfaction improved, and our team could focus more on innovation rather than manual tasks. 24. How do you stay updated with the latest DevOps trends and tools? Staying updated with the latest DevOps trends and tools involves a multifaceted approach. Regularly following industry-leading blogs, podcasts, and newsletters can provide insights into emerging practices. Participating in forums and online communities, such as DevOps subreddits or Stack Overflow, helps engage with peers and learn from their experiences. Attending conferences and webinars offers networking opportunities and exposure to cutting-edge tools. Additionally, pursuing certifications and online courses can deepen expertise and ensure familiarity with current technologies, enhancing skills relevant to evolving DevOps practices. 25. What metrics do you track to measure DevOps success? For example, deployment frequency, MTTR. To measure DevOps success, key metrics include deployment frequency, which indicates how often new code is deployed, mean time to recovery, MTTR, representing the average time taken to recover from a failure, change lead time, measuring the time from code commit to deployment, and change failure rate, tracking the percentage of deployments that fail. Monitoring customer satisfaction through feedback and performance metrics also plays a crucial role. These metrics provide insights into efficiency, reliability, and the overall health of the DevOps process. Regular analysis helps identify areas for improvement and enhances team collaboration. In this video, we've explored the top 25 DevOps engineer interview questions and their detailed answers, which can help you better prepare for your next interview. Mastering these questions will not only boost your confidence but also enhance your understanding of key concepts in the DevOps field. Remember, continuous learning is essential in this ever-evolving industry. If you found this content helpful, please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more insightful resources and tips to advance your career in DevOps. Thank you for watching.